Okay, first of all, to greet you all. I have a daunting task to somehow represent all the local coordinators from all the countries. So, in my personal name and in their name also, we would like to thank you all for really good hospitality here in Torino, Turin. And yeah, thank you very much for having us, and thank you very much for sharing your experiences, which can help us a lot in understanding the new era of how the professor previously said the new second welfare process or second welfare state in the region, in the Europe, but also which will be transported to the Balkan region, which is the E.L.B.A focus. I will try to present. I don't have a really easy task because I need to present the context of the Balkans or all the information, to give you all the information to you, for you to get the picture how it is and why the E.L.B.A project is somehow born, how the context put Caritas Italiana wish to do this kind of project in the region, and why is it so needed. So just for the beginning, to name all the countries that are involved. So I will go from the top. It's Bosnia and Herzegovina, it's Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, then Albania, Kosovo, Greece, and we have sister kind of organization which is joined recently. It's Bulgaria. So we are talking about this whole region, and we are calling it. We have a unique name. It's Balkans or West Balkans, or as you wish. So for the beginning, just to get some information that about the entire region, some of the cases were not so the same. Some countries had different kinds of experience, but most of these countries went through the same processes in the last 20 or so years. So we somehow from in the end of the 80s and the beginning of the 90s transformed from socialism to capitalism and started into a new era. And then we have the process of the 90s, where we started for our cultural transformation. When we started the economy transformation, we have big projects, big privatization of companies, change of the environment, change of the mentality, which I can assure you, we still didn't finish. Then when the whole area started to finally to get on its feet, we had the global economic crisis. But from difference in the Western countries or the United States and everything, the effects of the global financial crisis we felt a little bit late, but they were much more severe for us than there were for Western countries. We sensed it later on, but with bigger effect. So just to give you some data about the context in which we are talking, in which we are speaking, it's the records about the unemployment. And please, if some of the local coordinators from other countries are noticing some of the data that are wrong, please correct me. So we have it from 43.45 in Bosnia to 17% in Albania to almost 27% in Macedonia. So it's a really high rate on unemployment, which was one of the biggest contributor to the needs of the poor people, because when you cannot find a job opportunity, and then all the problems begin. So this is just to give you the some kind of context from where are we coming. This crisis, one of the first effects was this labor labor market, and the first effects were taken to the labor market because we have the reduced number of employed people. The rest of the some kind of effects from the global crisis, the first one was much more difficult to find funding from different kinds of projects, institutions, programs that would be financed. Usually that the money was not coming from Germany, Austria, Italy, even Greece, who was at one point even financing some of the projects in the Western Balkan. Then we had, of course, reduced trade from other countries and in connection to the European Union. Then we have less foreign investments coming to the region. Then drop in remittances. This is the financial gifts of the relatives, because all of these countries have a huge, I think in English is diaspora. I'm not sure. So a huge number of relatives who are living outside of this area sending money. This is even today considerable. Income for some family. For example, in Bosnia, only in 2013, we had 1.3 billion euros coming from the families only by bank transactions to the people in Bosnia. So it's a huge, it's the only way how the people can actually live. If you have an elderly person who lives on, a pension of 100 or 150 euros, you know that they cannot survive only based on this. They need these kind of remittances from their children or some families from EU, United States or Canada and etc. So we also have a slowed domestic consumption and then high unemployment rate. Of course, all these effects even more reflected on the vulnerable groups. They remained marginalized. They become even more poor. The support from the state, we were talking all about time about this kind of welfare state, and in this context, in the Balkan region, you need to understand that we still have this remembrance of the past era where government was responsible for everything from the school and now when our budgets, our government budget cannot finance in this, people are not used to how to manage these kind of situations, because they used to that the government will solve all their problems. You would just need to go to certain office and you will get a job, you will get the health, you would get the money for school, everything. Now we don't have this, so the mentality is still adapting. Of course, these possibilities for people to be included in the society are dropping considerably. Of course, as I said, to summarize about this situation is that we have now a situation that many people are migrating from this area. They are economic migrants. They are leaving from this area. They are leaving for Western Europe, especially Germany, Austria, becoming a workforce there. There is this data that I just read a couple of days ago, that in 2014, one NGO founded that around 50,000 people moved from Bosnia during only that year. So you have 50,000 people moved as an economical migrant to their relatives in Western Europe to work. So. Just to skip now to the main problems and challenges that we are facing regarding social enterprises. We don't have enough knowledge and about the concept about social enterprises and the possibilities that can offer. Of course, for all the countries is most likely equal the situation that we have a lack of adequate institutional or legal framework for the work for the social enterprises. There are some laws in all of the countries, but the closer one to the actual law about the social enterprises is Serbia, and there are some beginnings in other countries like in Bosnia. They have some kind of frame. We have a huge bureaucracy, slow administration and establishment, and it's really hard to find out these kind of legal entities. We have these all kind of social enterprises initiatives that are already existing. They are mostly sporadic and most likely focusing only on employment. We are facing the lack of funding for the initial investments for the beginning, for startups. We have lack of necessary knowledge and skills because we are still new in this area. And also what we are lacking, or what are the challenges for us, that we are having destroyed resources or the poverty, so it's really hard to start on from this. Perspective, of course, is, as we heard it from the previous lectures, is that this is one of the potential solutions to many problems. If you are starting with the social enterprises as a response, as a social impact in the community, as a social inclusion tool, you are helping in many ways. You are including community, like we saw from this example here in Turin with the market. So you are including the community. You are helping people who are excluded. You are solving the problems of loneliness, which we also figure out in Bosnia, that in many cases people who are socially excluded and in the line of poverty, mostly because of lack of networking, lack of social content. So it represents one of the perspective for this kind of initiatives. Now, just to give you the brief history or the brief connection with the church in this area, and what the church did, and Caritas, what kind of social programs, and how does it connect with the social enterprises. So as you know, before the 19th, any kind of initiatives, especially in the Bosnia from former Yugoslavia, any kind of initiatives in the social sector coming from Caritas or coming from the church were illegal practically. They were forbidden because the perception was that the church should be to deal with its own business, and it should not intervene in any kind of government program. The government will solve all social problems, which we now know it's not the case. We were having some poverty, some people who are socially excluded, and Caritas and church could help. Government didn't solve all the problems, so this was a past opportunity. But from my understanding and my experience, I think the Caritas in this area went through 3 different kinds of stages from the 90s until now. During the 90s, this was the first response, like the first phase, which I call like humanitarian phase. The main point was how to rebuild houses, how to renew people's homes, how to renew agriculture, and etc. And it was like immediate response with the many help from outside. The second stage, it was the stage of the social services delivery and capacity building, where we focused mostly on delivering certain social services. Like one of the biggest program, I think some of it still exists, is the home care project that we were delivering. It was a social service program, but we were expecting government to take over. This doesn't happen, and Caritas doesn't have any more funds to invest in this. And I believe this is the third phase from now on. It's somehow already recognized, and it's going to continue in the future, that this is the way how we should deal with the problems that are existing. And just to prove you that we didn't just started, just to give you some heads up what we did with the maybe E.L.B.A. project and what something existed already in the field. Just to present you the results of the research done by Caritas Italiana and all the people within the E.L.B.A. project. So these are the map This is the mapping of all the social enterprises and social projects that have the potential to become a social enterprises mapped in the region. So you have, like in some countries like Montenegro, we don't have any existing social enterprises, but we have a really good potential of 15 projects who have a good potential to become a social enterprises. Then in Macedonia, we have one project but 3 social enterprises, and so on and so on. So this is the just kind of overview of what we did. And just to show you a few examples of the projects that are existing in the field about good social initiatives, social enterprises that are existing. The first one is called Rad Dar. In English translation would be work gift. It's a social cooperative, social enterprise founded in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's about people with disability working in a handcraft studio, producing handcrafts and selling them, and by that enabling themselves to get employed. So they are selling their products and managing to get paid. They are founded by Caritas. Then we have a cooperative called Livac in Banja Luka. I just told you it's a huge farm which more than 400 cattle. They produce milk. With this milk, with the cooperation with one monastery, Trappist monastery, they produce cheese. They sell cheese, and then all the funds they use for financing Caritas social projects. We have a really good example of Service Elio. It's from Caritas Shabac. This is I think, I'm not having the exact data, but the biggest parish Caritas in the region. They have 3 kind of laundry service stores in the city. They are charging their services, and by that employing women coming from vulnerable groups. And we have one more project as an idea coming from Albania. It's focusing on the north part of Albania. It's a touristic kind of cooperation initiative where gathers people who are offering accommodation, local food, local everything for the potential tourists. I think I managed to finish. I will read you conclusions to read by yourselves.
Thank you. Bene, abbiamo avuto un quadro della situazione. Miroslav ci diceva, ci ha fatto vedere la mappa delle imprese sociali che sono nate. La domanda adesso alla nostra ospite è possibile e come ricominciare da questa idea di impresa sociale per crescere e far cambiare il nostro modo di approcciare la questione della povertà e dello sviluppo?
So, thank you, Miroslav, for giving us the framework of the situation. You show us also the map of the already born social enterprises. So the question we are now asking to our next speaker is how is possible, in which way we can regenerate from this idea in order to change the ways and the approaches in promoting attention for the poor and social economy.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to be here this afternoon, and thank you for having invited me. Before starting with the presentation, let me say that I'm very happy to see and to discover that the majority of the key words that you have highlighted during this first session belong to part of our key policies and programs regarding social justice. You mentioned the social economy, innovation, but also the relevance of promoting work. And in this regard, during the preparation of this presentation, I have decided to start mentioning the key statement of our Philadelphia Declaration, which says that poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. And moving on this important statement, the International Labour Organization has decided to focus better on promoting jobs for protecting people. Why? Because we know that work is not a commodity. We know that work is central to people's well-being, and in addition to the income generation, we can agree that work can also pave the way for economic and social progress, strengthening individuals, their families, and the communities. And looking at this statement, it's also important to mention what was the key goal during the constitution of the ILO in 1919. And we know that this was the period after the First World War, in which there was a strong need for reconstruction at all levels, including, in particular, social and economic needs and progress. And for this reason, the ILO Constitution states that universal and lasting peace can be established only if it is based upon social justice. For reaching this very ambitious goal, the attention put by the ILO was on the improvement of working and labor conditions. And you know that one of the main activities of the ILO is to set out the so-called international labor standards. And unfortunately, I have to say and to admit that some conditions are still relevant today. And if we consider the regulation of labor supply, the protection of workers against sickness, disease, injury, the protection of children, women, and all vulnerable groups, the protection of interests of workers that are working outside their country, and the principle of equal remuneration for work of equal value. And in this regard, what we are facing now is that due to the lasting impact of the global economic and financial crisis, many available works are in the informal economy, where, unfortunately, again, we can admit that there is lower pay, poor working condition, with social dissatisfaction and a social dislocation. So, how, over the years, the ILO is working with the aim of promoting jobs and protecting people? First of all, establishing and keeping up a strong cooperation between governments, employers, and workers' organizations. You know that we are the only one organization within the UN family based on a tripartite mechanism in which there is a continuous consultation between representatives from the Minister of Labor, not only Minister of Labor, but particular Minister of Labor, the social partners, so workers and employers organization, for assessing the priorities in terms of, first of all, promotion of social dialogue. Social dialogue is another important and key driver for establishing a sustainable mechanism for ensuring social justice. And I would like just to mention the other two important steps of our developing agenda at the ILO that are represented by the Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work and the Declaration on Social Justice for a Fair Globalization. Both of them are emphasizing a strong commitment to protect labor rights, and in particular for ensuring that the economic development remains focused on improving life of individuals and human dignity. Now, moving very quickly, what is the main instrument for developing our policies and programs? And it was defined at the end of the 90s with the Decent Work Agenda. Decent Work Agenda represents the key instrument for supporting, helping national and regional authorities in designing and implementing programs with the aim to contribute to a positive change in people's life at national and local levels. And the Decent Work Agenda has been structured in order to have crystal clear, four main objectives. The first one is promoting jobs in terms of investment in entrepreneurship and skills development, as well as for job creation to occur. The second main objective is guaranteeing rights at work in terms of rights of representation and participation, not only in the context of the labor market and labor policies, but in the civil society at large. The third one is extending social protection in the view of facilitating, supporting inclusion, in particular vulnerable groups, but also for ensuring better working conditions. So, as we call health and safety condition at work. And the last one is promoting social dialogue, as I said before, for ensuring also the capacity to respond in time on the priorities and needs at national level, at country, regional level. Very recently, taking into account the global economic and financial crisis, we have also developed this global job pact in which job center policies are defined at international level and in which there is again a focus on the need to restart to think about the role of social economy. Why to rethink about? Because ILO was pioneer in the design and development of initiatives aiming at promoting social economy and social enterprise, starting from the 1980s. Why, again? First of all, because social economy and social enterprises have the possibility to respond to the social needs and to meet the unsatisfied social needs for finding solution in order to progressively eliminate exclusion and poverty. But in a broader perspective, the attention of the ILO in social economy development is due to the fact that taking into account social economy, it leads to the recognition of a parallel economy in which there are different economic exchanges, monetary, non-monetary, market, non-market. And for this reason, the social and solidarity economy, that is the new perspective, you asked me to highlight what are the new programs. There are evidently some advantages, but it's important also to be aware of the preconditions necessary to ensuring sustainable social enterprises. And here we can also focus on the policy framework, on which I have something to say later on. But coming back to the advantages in focusing and in promoting social economy, we can agree that the social economy has a multidimensional nature. I mean, it is a key driver for not only job creation, but for supporting social protection, for investing in innovation, and also for fostering an attention on the environment, the green jobs. So another way to take into account the environment protection and also the creation of new jobs. Another important element is the partnership, in which, as was said before, the relevance of public and private partnership is essential in order to set up a multi-level and multi-stakeholder system and mechanism in which the first attempt is to reduce the obstacles for vulnerable groups to access, for example, to the financial system. And we will see something later on. That is combined to the role of social finance. And I would like just to mention some burning issues that are now in discussion at the ILO with our constituents, the social partners, and the governments. In particular, the concrete development associated with the expansion of the social economy, but also a well-defined structure that takes into account what we can call the enabling condition for a conducive ecosystem for social enterprises. There are two key questions open for discussion at international, national, and local level. The first one is how to territorialize government action. This afternoon was recalled many times the role of the community-based approach that is part of our focus in terms of ensuring a bottom-up approach in which all key stakeholders, including civil societies, families, take active part in the policy definition, but also in terms of policy management. And in this respect, the second question is how social economy is impacting public policy planning in terms, again, of sustainability of the social enterprises that can be started up. Now, moving very quickly, what is and how is doing the ILO in our In Focus program on social finance? First of all, the emphasis on social justice, and that we know is based on equality of rights for everybody. The social finance program supports efforts to extend as much as we can financial services to excluded persons by addressing two main goals. The first one is the promotion of better employment, taking into account the decent work agenda, and the reduction in the vulnerability. But I would like just to stress one point regarding the role of social finance in the context of a renewed social economy program. We have to take into account that traditionally social enterprises have been funded, are funded, still funded through grants and loans. But we know that, take into account the reducing financial resources available at international, regional, local level, there is a risk, a concrete risk, do not have control in the future and also in the existing situation over the source of funding. And so it can determine a level of instability and not sustainability. For this reason, our future attention will on the innovative social finance in terms of, for example, the development of a customized financial sector, and also the definition of a social investment landscape in which the commitment, the strong commitment is to move from grants to investment. And now, in conclusion, let me just listing very quickly what are, from our experience, the conducive ecosystem for social economy. First of all, the promotion of a culture of social entrepreneurship, because it has been proved that social enterprises are a key driver for the inclusion of vulnerable groups in a sustainable manner. But it's also important to build enabling legal and regulatory and fiscal framework to bring sustainability and clarity itself. Another key element is provide sustainable finance tailored to the needs of social enterprises, including innovative institutional arrangements. And for this reason, the ILO has started 4 years ago to work more closely, for example, with the microcredit and microfinance institution in order to try to develop a common setting for ensuring a major attention on these vulnerable groups. And just for mentioning another important element for us is making public procurement policies more responsive to the needs of social enterprise sector. Now, you have discussed before also in terms of capacity building, skills developments. Our organization in Turin is in charge and responsible for developing tailoring activities and programs for strengthening the institutional capacity of organization at national, regional level for putting adequate attention on the sustainable regulatory framework for supporting the social enterprise development. But also in terms of training and skills development, we have developed a certain number of programs. I've just mentioned the Social and Solidarity Economy Academy, the microfinance work, that is a training courses with more than 100 certified trainees that can operate in more than 4 countries. Started Improve Your Business program, as well as the Know About Your Business program. This is just an example of what organization at international level try to foster and to strengthen at a different level not only the skills but the capacity to rethink or to develop in different cases a strategy, an effective strategy for a conducive and an effective social economy and sustainable development. Thank you.
Bene, a fianco delle informazioni su quanto E.L.B.A fa, ci è stato detto che servono strumenti per far crescere le politiche. Quanto potremmo fare noi deve anche aiutare a formare delle policy nei nostri paesi.
So together with the information about what E.L.B.A is doing, you underline the fact that we need instruments to build up new policies. What we are doing is oriented toward the creation of new policies.
E poi abbiamo sentito della attenzione ai bisogni sociali come leva dello sviluppo sociale e non solo per la crescita economica.
And the care about social needs is a sort of starting point, let's say, for the local social development, not only economical development.
Questa idea ci porta a riflettere, per concludere il nostro pomeriggio, su quali potrebbero essere gli orizzonti per creare delle azioni proprio di sistema che, partendo dalle cose che abbiamo sentito, possano produrre sviluppo integrale del territorio e delle persone.
So this idea helps us in reflecting, thinking about which are the possible perspective, possible horizons, to create these systematic actions in order to produce sustainable answers.